Alright, Milsurp Garage here. Let's get the season underway here. Got the Peruvian Mauser under our belt now. Took that thing to the range. I hadn't shot it when I did the video, but the thing was awesome. Worked really well. Charlie's back in action over here, fatter than ever, but he's still rocking and rolling. Right, Charlie? It just ain't the Milsurp Garage without you here, you know what I mean? Sorry about that last video, you were busy. Yeah, he's tired. Long day for Charlie, huh? A lot of ball chasing. Anyway, let's get started with what we got here for you today. I had brought to you, at one point in the past, the Swedish Mauser. One of my favorites. I love this thing. It's got an incredibly smooth action, but it shoots an interesting round, the 6.5 by 55 round, which I also have a video on that also. It's kind of like a long, skinny projectile that doesn't really look like it would fly too well, but its ballistic coefficient combined with the amount of twist to the rifling, they just somehow did it perfect. They just hit the sweet spot where that thing is like a hard-hitting round, accurate as hell, and really, really moderate recoil. These things are good for like somebody who's recoil sensitive. You know, they're not light. You know, these things are like pretty, you know, pretty solid, heavy rifles. So they absorb the recoil of a lighter charged round, like really nice, you know. And I had always known there was a carbine version of these, but never really thought that it really made much sense because they really weren't that much shorter. I was like, you know, I'd probably get another long rifle if I ever found one that was in really nice shape. This one is a 1912, and this is just the regular long rifle version of it. And lo and behold, I walked into one of my favorite Milsurp purchasing stores and see this carbine sitting there. And let me tell you, it is just a very small amount shorter. Oh, I feel so tongue-tied today, Charlie. Maybe you should do a video. Huh? He's out. It doesn't really seem like it's that much shorter, but it somehow changes the characteristics of this thing completely. The way this thing feels, like you could trek with it. You could sling this thing over your shoulder and carry it just downright comfortable. It's something about just that little bit of extra. I mean, this was around, you know, that's the difference. Not a crazy difference, really, but definitely matters. And, you know, they went to this downsizing thing, like, kind of like, I think it was more like after World War I, you know, it was like moving into World War II, that they chopped a lot of these rifles down. They went to like a smaller rifle. Now this one is a 1942. These things are called M38s, so they really waited all the way till 1938, where in Sweden they were like, you know, we better come up with something shorter. And I guess they loved these things so much that they didn't want to switch to something else. They were just like, well, we'll just chop them down. That's literally what they did at the beginning, was just take these long rifles that are mostly made by Carl Gustav factory, and they just started just hacking them shorter. And they did start up in factories. This is a Husqvarna, and Husqvarna kind of started producing them, you know, short like this. And that's what this is. This is a 1942. This one was started its life as a short rifle like this. It wasn't a converted one. However, the converted ones, I mean, the ones that were made as short rifles did have a turned down bolt. You could see even in the stock there's a relief in it for the turned down bolt. You could see it there. But the ones that were hacked down, they didn't have a turned down bolt. They reused the same, you know, the same straight bolt. This one should have a turned down bolt. Everything on this rifle kind of matches as far as Well, actually, nothing really matches. I remember now the magazine plate. The magazine plate on the bottom doesn't match, and Husqvarna didn't put numbers all over these barrel bands like they did with the Carl Gustaf ones, but nothing really matches. Even is there a number on this? Yeah, that matches. The butt plate matches the rifle, but the excuse me, like the sights I think have a number, and they're not the same, and the bolt isn't the same. The bolt is from a long rifle. But to tell you the truth, I never had one with the turn-down bolt, but I kind of like the straight bolt. It doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? But I guess the whole thing about this is that it's more portable, more carryable, and I did look to see if I could find a turn-down bolt, and none of the normal places like Numrich or, places that sell, that are, really good parts suppliers, they're all, like, sold out, you know? And then even if they had it, it's like, like $180 whatever for the complete bolt, and I'm like, I don't know, didn't pay much more than that for the whole rifle, you know what I mean? So, and then you got to worry about head spacing issues and everything. And this one's good. I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna leave this bolt. God knows how long this has been with it. I'm not even gonna mess with the turn down bolt with it. But it really should have, if you wanted to be correct with one that was produced as a short rifle, would have the turn down bolt. Let's get on with this. I'm like stagnating here. The story with these is that originally when they were making these, Sweden and Norway, who were kind of combined somehow politically, got to really do a lot of research to find out. They almost ran themselves kind of like as if they were one country. They really stuck together and kind of worked with each other, figuring safety in numbers kind of thing. Since they were like small countries, like not powerful countries, let's say, so they kind of just worked together. And they kind of like developed that 6.5 by 55 round together, and they're like, we'll both use this, so we could pool our resources and share a common bullet, you know what I mean? And then when they got to rifles, Norway was like, oh, we kind of like this Krag, and Sweden was like, well, yeah, the Krag's nice, but look at this Mauser that we can make. These Mausers that, Germany's kicking out. These things are pretty awesome. And I guess Norway was like, yeah, well, nah, we're not going with that. So Sweden was like, well, we're going with the Mauser. And Norway was like, we're going with the Krag. And that's kind of like where they separated. So they share around. The original Krags, I know you're used to like 30, 40 Krags. The original Krags were in this 6.5 by 55 round. And Sweden decided to go with the Mauser design. And originally these were made in Germany and shipped to Sweden, like for the first year or so that they were made, first couple of years or something. But with Swedish steel, Sweden would ship the steel to Germany. Germany would make them for them and ship them back. But it wasn't long before Sweden was making their own. And Carl Gustaf, this is the long rifle is a Carl Gustaf model. And 1912 is a cool year. It's the year the Titanic sank, so you can kind of gives like a historical perspective that someone's looking at it and you go like, yeah, that was the year the Titanic sank. They're like, wow. Sometimes you don't even think like the age of these things, you know what I mean? Even this one to me is my new one. It's still 1942. I mean, but the wood on this one, just the how nice these are. You find these in good shape. Excuse me, in good shape a lot. Because, of course, Sweden was neutral, let's say. There really wasn't much battling going on during World War II in Sweden. Although they did supply the Finnish with a lot of these. And a lot of these ended up in Finland. You find some of them actually stamped SA, have a Finnish army mark on it. And so I'm sure they did fight a pretty big war with Russia over there, the Winter War in Finland. And a lot of these did see action, you know what I mean? And I think the Finns loved them, from what I've read. But never really saw with my own eyes one marked SA that was kind of beat up that looked like it might have actually been in a war. Whenever I see any of these, they're always in really nice shape. It's just hard not to buy every single one of them you see because they're so beautiful. And if I was going to buy one other one, I would buy one of the early models. They're right around the turn of the century, so they'll say like 1899 on it or right at 1900. Where I think they say Obendorf, which is the ones that were built in Germany. And I missed the boat on one of those once before I ever even bought the long rifle. I had come across one of those and it was in beautiful shape, and I was like, I don't know much about those, let me research it. And by the time I researched it and said, yeah, I'm going to grab one of those, it was gone already, and I went for this one. but I could have had one of those ones that were made in Germany and kind of missed out on it. But they would be pretty rare because they were only made for that 1 year. So this one, I got really lucky. This thing had this sling on it already, which is a really nice original sling, and you know, it had the cleaning rod, everything all the way it's supposed to be, and you know, of course, you got this stock disc that comes on these here, where you know, you can kind of get an idea of at some point during its you know, re-arsenal, what the condition of certain parameters were, if you do some research on this stock disc. Or it could just be that, you know, the stock disc could have been missing and some collector before you could have just screwed this one on there from any rifle. So you can't really go by these when you buy it. You really just want to eyeball what's going on when you're buying it. You can't really go by these things. But if I had to guess, I would think this is the original one, only because this rifle really does look just really clean. And, you know, it doesn't really look like it's been through many changes, although the bolt isn't the original bolt. It still doesn't look piecemealed, you know what I mean, which is nice. Now, another thing about these that's kind of odd, and I think I might detail it in my long rifle video, but one of the things that made me really want to grab this one is it did have the threaded cap on here, even though it was a short rifle. Whereas the cut down ones, you won't see this, obviously, because when they cut them down, this wasn't something that they would be able to, you know, like add on to it. But what this was used for was for this guy. And what this weird looking thing is a muzzle device that goes on here, it screws on and clips down over the sight. And then what this thing was for was to catch, should have had it out already, but forgot, is to catch these guys. They have these, like, these really weird wooden bullets. You see how they're red like that. These are not, this isn't something that's modern. These are old school, head stamped, Swedish ammo. Decent amount of powder in here too. I mean, I don't think these things are like, you know, are going to be quiet. These things would probably blast just as loud as, you know, a regular round. And what they would do with these, they would train with these. I guess just because they wanted the soldiers to, you know, get used to the report and cycling the action with actual brass. And I guess this was just protection because even though it is just a wooden bullet that's on here, I guess it could potentially kill you if you were really close to it, or if it hits you in the eye or something, or the temple. You know, I don't know what they were doing, running around shooting at each other with these things or whatever. I don't know, but this thing was made to break up that wooden round, and the pieces would fall out of here. Never experimented with it or messed with it. As a matter of fact, I don't even like to have this thing around at all. I never take it to the range with me when I'm shooting, and I'm always just careful to keep this thing away, because the way I look at it, like, God help you if you ever put an actual round down the chamber with this thing on, somehow, by mistake, you know. Like, if I was going to go screw around with this thing, I would bring these wooden bullets that only. So this is the original Swedish box and everything. I would bring these only. I wouldn't even bring regular live ammo with me, only because I wouldn't want that ever to... It's just a nightmare for me to think that mosquito... To think that something like that would happen, because it would disintegrate your face. I mean, this thing weighs like 2 pounds. I mean, this thing is no joke. A bullet would not penetrate this thing. It would just all come back at you. Speaking of which, of coming back at you, there is a gas release with this rifle. You can see it. Let me show you. You see it right there? There's the gas release hole that kind of ends up over there, shrouded behind the extractor when the rifle is in its full battery chambered, ready to fire position. No, actually it isn't shrouded. It kind of just points up at an angle right there. See it? So that's kind of cool. Whenever you see that with these old rifles, it's always a little better than not having it, because if for some reason the case ruptured towards the rear of it, either you're piercing the primer and it blows out through the primer, you don't ever want to get any material or anything like blown out back in your face, or or potentially it could even cause the bolt to come back at you. These things do not have the third locking lug that goes up in here on some newer, on some more powerful Mausers, or just a different design, let's say. But it is kind of like this older style where it only has 2 locking lugs that go up in there. And interesting with this one is it cocks on closing, as you see, like an Enfield, you see. And it has this knurled piece back there where you can actually lower it with your thumb. That's most Mausers don't have. But most Mausers will cock on opening. This one does not. Which is what gives it that real smoothness. These things are like super smooth. It's like the Enfield, they call it like so smooth and everything. It's because you're separating like what's going on. Like the lifting of the bolt is strictly to use primary extraction to break the case loose, let's say, from the chamber. It's like everything's separated. Every movement is doing something. Whereas with the German Mauser, let's say the K98, as you're lifting, you're cocking it, and you're using primary extraction to break the case loose. You're doing 2 things at once, and by keeping it where you're only doing 1 thing at a time, you can see the primary extraction here. Let me see if I can get it right in here. So you can see the bolt when you're lifting the handle. It's moving backwards. See that backwards movement right there? See that? That little bit of backwards movement, that's the primary extraction right there. You can see that movement back and forth. When you're lifting the bolt, you're twisting the spent case in the bore, in the chamber there, and twisting it and pulling backwards slightly until you get to that point. That's the primary extraction. So that now when you're pulling straight back, you kind of like broke the case loose from the chamber. Whereas if you like straight pull rifles, a lot of them have a problem where there is no primary extraction. So bang, you shoot, you're just pulling straight back. It's kind of like trying to pull a nail out of a board by just pulling straight up. It's hard to get it out. If you really want to get it out, you twist. You know, if you twist back and forth, boom, you get it right out. The twisting matters when it comes to something being jammed inside. And believe me, when all that brass expands against the chamber in there, it can get wedged in there pretty good. So that's why these and the Enfields, like anything that breaks down, every single movement is for just one purpose. It's the primary extraction, breaking the case loose. Then it's extracting the case, ejecting the case. Then it's picking up around and bringing it home. And then at this point, it's cocking the rifle, locking the bolt. So it's like everything is separated. Whereas with, like, say, the K98, when after you fire and you're in this position, not only are you're lifting, you're cocking the rifle, and you're doing the primary extraction. Now you're ejecting, and then when you're just picking up around and pushing it home, there's no cocking anymore now. So you're just pushing it in and loading it, and locking the bolt. But it's kind of like there's like a wasted motion right there. You know what I mean? Well, not really wasted, but you kind of get the point of what I'm saying. This mechanical this way it's done here with the cocking on closing always ends up with the rifle just feeling smoother, only because you're breaking down. Each motion is doing something. So each motion feels smooth because you're not doubling up on duties for any of them. You know what I mean? And this one, bore, was awesome. Love this one. Look, this is a little aftermarket thing. It's like a flash hider that you can screw on here. You see a lot of these, you see a lot of these on, like, Gunbroker being sold with this on there. They're like, with flash hider, but it's like, meanwhile, this was nothing that the Swedes ever had. This is definitely something that's made in this country afterwards, like aftermarket. I think even these metal caps were. I think it was originally some kind of like plasticky kind of cap. And then they have these hoods, these sight protectors that you could put on there. I put it on right once, and then after that I kind of forgot how the hell it even goes on, but it looks kind of gaudy, so I don't usually run it. And then you got the Swedish bayonet here, which is pretty unique. Nice frog, nice scabbard here. These things have like a wealth of information on it. Do you ever see that much stuff stamped on anything? Look at all those numbers and all. There's even some like on this flat part. Oh, here it's on this part of it. There's numbers stamped here. There's all kinds of designations. There's proof marks over here. Look at it. I mean, it's like crazy stamped with crap that goes supposedly right down to the guy's division and rank, file, serial number. You could probably find the guy's like exact spot in line of where he is supposed to be just by finding it. They find this on the floor, they could come like right to your bunk, right to your exact bed and be like, you lost something. And it has this interesting, see how there's just a hole back here and it's got this like, this interesting button here. Very unique type of bayonet that goes completely over the cleaning rod and clicks in there. See, it has this like this unique looking area here on the bottom of the rifle. See that with that flat round part right there? And both of them, the long rifle and this one, the short rifle, use the same bayonet. But man, what a system! It goes on there so smooth and so nice, and it's like really solid. I mean, it's on there good. Nice long blade. That's a nice bayonet. It really is a really nice system, and it's not easy to get off, which is good because you don't want it to be. You don't want it coming off. You know what I mean? But you got to pull this button up as you pull it forward. But what's good about it is that it doesn't come off so easy, to tell you the truth. I mean, I think that's what makes it effective, is that you never want to lose your bayonet. And, yeah, geez, what else? All I got to say is, I mean, you could probably go back and look at my video on the long rifle, and I don't know what else I covered besides what I'm not covering here, but, man, what a difference. This size, you could even just see it on the video that it just even looks like, look at that wood, huh? I mean, it looks like fine furniture. How could you say no to that? I mean, I saw that in this gun store, and I was just like, I made him an offer, but this was an opportunity where he could go, no, I'm sticking with what I wrote on that tag, and I would have paid it. But I lowballed the guy, and he was like, he was eating lunch. Go to a gun store when the guy's eating lunch. It works. And make sure he's got like a mouthful of food when you go, I'll tell you what, I'll give you whatever, you know, just come up with like a lowball figure and they're just like munch, munch, munch. Okay. You know, that's exactly what happened. And I was like, I consider it a steal. I think I got a pretty good deal on it. For once, I got a good deal. Only because it's just gorgeous. This guy bugs out over like ones that look really nice. It's like you'll think just because a rifle like looks decent that he could like triple what it's supposed to cost, and you're like, look, I don't even care if it would have had some dings or dents in it. I just want one of those, you know. But I got lucky that he didn't really bug out on this one. So, yeah, that's the story. You can get these wooden bullets pretty easy. They're around. Originally, the company that sold these would not ship them to my state for some reason. But I called back again like a year later. And then I didn't have a problem. So I don't know what their issue was. But where's the round here? I'll show you what. And also, you can get these stripper clips also, like, really cheap. For some reason, these, and they're really good because you could use the 3006 fits in here, and you could use them for your, like, 1903 or your 1917. I used them on the Peruvian Mauser that I just showed, and 3006 fits in it, and a couple of other rounds. You can't fit 8 mil in here, though. Like, that won't fit. But this case base here fits a lot of different rounds that you could you could use these stripper clips with, so they're really convenient. But it's they're dead cheap. You could buy like boxes of them. Where's the box? See, where's one of those boxes? I'll show you what they look like. This is what the boxes look like when you buy the stripper clips. See, and I just have like boxes of these. They're just here. There's just a box with a whole bunch of them in there. I think I have 3 or 4 of these even in here, and they're just my go-to stripper clip for even for 3006 and everything. But you see, they say 6.5 millimeter right here. There's 40 of them in this box. These boxes might be $10, something like that. All right, so it's like a tricky place to get a bunch of stripper clips that you could use for other things. And here's the round. This is PPU, of course. I'm a big fan. But you see how long and skinny and pointy that blade. It's actually, these aren't that pointy. PPU kind of like rounds them off. You all right over there? What's the matter? A little indigestion? Am I talking too much for you? Smoke going in your face? What's wrong? So, yeah, so they're like rounded tips. I have some of these that are like pointy. So you can see if you put like an extra millimeter on there with a point, how they're even longer. You know what I mean? Doesn't look like they're gonna fly right. Even when I first bought these rounds, I was like, this rifle's gonna suck. How are these things? You know, you realize the bullet goes all the way down to there. That, you know what I mean? They're that long and skinny. But man, are they freaking accurate? They really are. I'm posting this video after I took it to the range. I didn't fire it. I didn't fire this rifle for a long time after I bought it. Same as the Peruvian Mauser, and I took both of them to the range at the same time. So I did the video on the Peruvian Mauser, then posted the video of me at the range, and while at the range I also fired this one. So now I'm doing this video after the range, and it was super accurate. And I'm going to have some video for you, and I'll be able to show you the target and exactly how it was shooting. I noticed it was a windy day, and this round is affected by the wind. It is a light bullet, so it is affected by the wind more than a 30-06, but still a very, very ballistic, very good ballistic coefficient to this round. So anyway, that's it. I really wish I could remember exactly what I spoke about with the last video. I guess I should have watched it, the video on the long rifle, so I could have expanded. I hope I didn't just talk about the same things, but yeah, now I have one of each in my repertoire, and like everything about them is identical till you get to you know, right to here. Everything's identical right to the barrel bands. You can see that even lining them up by the barrel bands there, identical length, and then that's where everything changes, where even if you put this up here, even that part of it is the same size from here up. You know, they're basically just taking a chunk just right out of this area is all they really did. They just shortened that by, what does that look like, about 5 or 6 inches. And you wouldn't think normally that it would matter, but this thing, slinging it over your shoulder, it's like getting caught in the trees. I mean, somehow, just that little bit, it definitely makes it just changes the handling characteristics of it, and it just feels better in your hand. It feels better slung over your shoulder. It feels more like just the size of like a modern hunting rifle, you know what I mean? And that's why I kind of like it better, you know what I mean? I really do. And when Charlie leaves, that means it's time for the video to be over. So, listen, I got some stuff on the horizon. We will be featuring some new stuff soon. So hang in there, and thanks for stopping by.